Boy, lovely. Blimey, that just popped
Oh,
up
hang
real
on,
quick.
now that's not recording. Oh, for God's sakes! Oh, you're testing me. You're testing me, stupid computer. You're testing me today.
That's
I'm
right.
not in the mood
I
for
almost had a Des Dorks Down Under podcast by myself because I found if I do this, because the whole screen picks up, because I've got my camera picking up my head on mine, and then I have the Discord here, and because my head was the whole thing, if I leant just across enough, I could have the podcast by myself.
Well, it would have been fine because I've not got much to talk about this week apart from one disappointing movie I watched.
I like that film. I rewatched it like
Oh,
literally while I was
no,
sick.
no, we're gonna have words.
I liked it. Just shut up. But yeah, I must say I did shave especially for today, because as everyone knows, last Sunday I wasn't feeling the best. Turns out I had COVID.
He was dying.
Like after the podcast, after we recorded the podcast on Sunday last week, I literally went to bed and I was like, I'm a bit tired. I'm just gonna lay down. And then I started coughing up a lung, and then I started to get sick, and then to the point where I even booked the doctors for Monday, and I'm like, this flu's kicking my ass, because I'd actually tested Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it came up negative. Went to the doctors, came up positive, and I was like, fuck. So then I had to cancel the doctor, and then they would go, oh, we can teleconference you for $70. I was like, what?
How about now?
And then, yeah, and then you get back $41 on Medicare because now no longer bulk billing is no longer a thing in Australia, for whatever reason. And then so I ended up having to teleconference to be told that pretty much you just need to rest, which I already knew, but they wouldn't give me a medical certificate without it. I'm like, I've got a COVID test, and I was like, fuck, and I tested in your waiting room, for fuck's sakes. So yeah, and then I have had about 5 or 6 days literally in bed. It took me 3 days to get out of bed to have a shower. I was feeling pretty bad, shall we say. But I did catch up on a lot of movies, and weirdly, one of the movies that Jordan said that he recently watched was one of the ones that I watched that I downloaded especially to watch to make me feel better.
Dorks Down Under.
Before we get to that, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under, Season 3, Episode 17. I've got my math. The mathing is mathing.
Maybe.
And we are the podcast where we discuss everything dorkdom, from video games to movies. This week we're going to be reviewing Uncharted.
An older movie that Jordan has finally seen that I actually really like. It is a film that had been in the works for yonks because of the fact that originally Nathan Drake was meant to be played by Marky Mark. So, like almost 20 years ago, I think it was like in 2000. It was in 1998 or 2003 or something around that area. They were looking at making an Uncharted, and then it got pushed back, and then it got pushed back, and then Sony pushed it back again. But the whole time, Mark Wahlberg was like, "I really want to play this character," and then eventually they released it in, I think it was 2022, maybe.
It was 20. Yeah, it was. The movie was 2020. Yeah, I think it was 2021.
Oh, was it? Yeah, and then obviously they wanted to keep Mark Wahlberg in it because he'd been attached to it for so long, so they made him Sully, which I actually thought was a great pick for him.
Oh, 2022. Sorry, 2022. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so to be fair, like if you want to talk about old movies, I've watched everything. Like I've been in bed with my phone, thank God for Prime, and I've just been watching it. So I watched Hancock, I watched The Expendables 4, I watched Uncharted, what else did I watch? I watched Escape Plan 1, 2, and 3. Great film with Sylvester Stallone. Oh, if you get a chance, what he is he's an actual like almost like a prison architect kind of thing, where he actually gets put into prison just so he can break out to prove that they aren't unbreakable. Okay. And there's 3 films with him in it where they keep.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Such a good film, and they got 3 of them. The first one's got young Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, where we actually get to hear him speak some German, which is always good.
Okay.
But yeah, I have watched movies and TV series. I ended up watching the Reacher TV series. I finished Fallout. I was just in bed half dead, so literally I just had a pillow where my phone was propped up on, and I was just watching movies and falling asleep halfway through them. It was amazing. And I watched Hancock too, which was a good watch.
I like Hancock.
Hancock was such a good film.
Yeah. Although, funnily enough, have you heard about Will Smith's recent the latest Bad Boys movie is flopping apparently massively.
Yeah, but I think but the problem is I feel
he's not allowed to do any press conferences as well apparently.
Like I really want to see it because I loved the Bad Boys series, but I do think that slap because it was already riding and you can't really get rid of Mike Lowry. I do think it was going to be very hard. But that being said, though, I'm excited to see it.
They should have just left it where it was. The third one, don't get me wrong, isn't a great movie, and it isn't a great.
The second one was amazing.
Second one was great. If anything, the second one's the best one.
Yes,
it should have stopped there. Realistically,
my biggest problem with the third one was that that little band of like tech kind of new age cops. Led by Vanessa Hudgens, were kind of thrown in there. And the whole reason that was thrown in there, and it was leaked before it even thing, was they were going to see what that dynamic was like and if they liked it, and they were going to turn it into a TV series.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's a big difference where if there's a character, say for example, like that big guy, the big nerd hacker, Lurch or something. If you were going to use him, because he became a very loved character in it because of, he was obviously like 6 foot with these big bubble glasses and everybody liked him. If you were going to take somebody that just happened to be cool and then turn it into a TV series, awesome. Yeah. But don't give me this team you want to turn into a TV series, so you're going to throw it into the movies to try to test it.
The issue with number 3, I find, is that okay, fine. Mike Lowry started off as this undercover agent and all this jazz, and that's how the entire. It was a bit redundant having all that extra the tech stuff, and it was kind of. I get what they were trying to do. Mike Lowry's old school, and this is what the new school does, and all that jazz, you know. And I kind of get that, but it just doesn't. It didn't work in my opinion, especially with. And the fact that, Marcus comes back, he comes out of retirement to help and all this jazz, even though he's going to get told off and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, they should have left it at 2. 2 was a good ending. They could have just left it there.
I didn't hate 3, but I just wish they went that old school and didn't try to make it too techy. And I was like, I
have a feeling that the 4th one, the current one that's just out, he's probably a bit more old school, and they've gone back and they've fixed it. But the problem is that no one's probably going to sort of think it's a good movie because
it has got a 70% or 68% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.9 on IMDb.
Is that from the audience score, the Rotten Tomatoes one?
Oh, I don't know. It just says Rotten Tomatoes. Let's have a look. No, 64 from Thingo. Audience give it a 97.
Oh, okay, all right.
So.
Okay, so.
We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life.
Okay, so it might be worth watching.
I want to watch it because I love the fact too, though, that they've brought back in Mike Lowry's son. Because that was something.
Did they?
Yeah. So remember at the end he kind of does that and he puts him in jail.
You find out that the assassin hitman guy is Mike's son. Yeah. I remember that.
And they bring him back, which I think is a nice touch. They do seem to bring back Vanessa Hudgens' team a little bit, where I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
But like that one, I'm like, yeah, cool. Oh my god.
What?
Hang on, I'm going to send you a photo on Facebook beforehand. Just because when I've searched Mike Lowry, or when I've searched this, something else has come up that is just, Okay, so we're going straight down the cop thing. I'm just waiting for it to actually send to Jordan.
Okay.
But this has just come through.
Oh, have you not seen this? It's on Netflix. The newest Beverly Hills.
No, this is the new cop. This is a new movie.
Yeah.
So they bought. I know they bought. Oh, I know they bought.
It's on Netflix now.
Is it? Okay, hang on. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go download it.
I haven't watched it yet. Literally, it was like we watched Uncharted and we were very disappointed, and then
I liked Uncharted.
I've had enough disappointment for one night. I can't have back to back.
Yeah. I must say though, I'm excited for Bad Boys. I think Bad Boys is going to be sick. I really want to see it at the movies, but I just don't have time, man. It's one of those things where I'm like, and right now they seem to be at the worst times. They're like, it's like 9 o'clock, lunchtime, and then it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah. No. So anyway, yeah. So I will actually, given the fact that the audience score is so high, I will actually watch Bad Boys.
97's high, man.
97's high, yeah. I'm about to say, generally, if it's anything below 90, I'm like...
No, this is that it's going to be released on July 3rd.
Oh, okay. So what's the one that's on? Oh, there's a new Beverly Hills.
Yeah, there's a TV series that's Series 1 that has come out, and I don't know if it's come out on Netflix or not, but Judge Reinhold is still alive, but the guy that plays Proctor isn't. But yeah, I'm like
yeah, no,
as Billy Rosewood.
It's coming out on July 3rd.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay. So Eddie Murphy's returning. Judge Reinhold, who plays Billy Rosewood, is returning. Mm-hmm. And then there's a few other ones that seem to just be like side characters. But yeah, I don't know. But like Reinhold would be.
Don't get me wrong, right? Okay, as we've already brought this up on a previous episode about how
we've got no new ideas.
They have no new ideas. They are struggling. But why on earth would they think it's a good idea to bring out a fourth movie of a franchise that wrapped up in the 90s? Why is that a good idea, realistically? Yeah. I mean, okay, I could say the same thing about Ghostbusters. I could.
Yeah.
But then again, we didn't get the trilogy. We didn't get the trilogy of Ghostbusters, and then we got Afterlife, and Afterlife was brilliant, and therefore it needed a fourth after that.
I must say, I was very pleasantly surprised with...
I am happy for Hollywood to go, you know what, there was only ever two of this movie made of this franchise, and it's a bit of a love franchise, so we'll do the trilogy. Great. But the fact is that, do we need another Beverly Hills Cop? Do we need a number 4 after all this time? Absolutely not.
Well, when you think about it, though, so obviously, we've just recently spoken about Bad Boys. When you think about it, Bad Boys, first one was released in 1993.
Okay.
With Tierra Leone and stuff like that. And then...
A very good movie as well.
1995. The second one was 2003. The third one was 2020.
Oh, was it? Was it that different?
So when you think about it, like that was one thing. Bad Boys, when it came out, I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait, all this stuff. And then it never seemed to come out. And then it seemed to... Will Smith got big. Martin Lawrence got average. And then,
I agree with that. Yeah, it's just... he got pushed into those comedy movies that just were awful. Especially comedy cop movies as well.
I think the hardest thing with Martin Lawrence is Martin Lawrence got really famous from, obviously, this TV series Martin, massive in the black community, did a whole heap of comedy stuff, and he is a really funny person, but he is always that sidekick. Bad Boys is really the only film that propelled him into being one of the leads, but he was still the sidekick lead.
Well, technically he was the lead in Black Knight, let's not even get into that movie.
Okay, as I said, he is a sidekick. He has been cast as a lead, but he is a sidekick. The only thing that obviously people love him for is Martin. And Martin was a massive thing over, especially with the black community. I know friends of mine, when I was in America, still watch it to this day. Had 5 or 6 series come out. And obviously he was like the dad kind of thing. And it was cool as hell. But... He is still the gawky sort of sidekick, which is I think the main reason why they couldn't have it without the slap. Big Mama's House was funny, but kind of like
the first one was good. The fact that when they said they're doing a sequel, I was like, no.
Didn't they do like 4?
I think they've done 4 or 5. It should have stopped. Is what it should have happened.
Yeah.
Whichever producer was walking saying, listen, I've got a sequel to Big Mama's House. It should have been just taken out back quietly. No. I mean, to be fair, it's like whoever gave Ryan Reynolds the Green Lantern script. That person just needed to be dead.
The weird thing about the Green Lantern script too, though, is I'm like, what scares me is so many people signed off on it, including obviously, Ryan Reynolds.
Himself, including Ryan. I literally have no idea what was going on. I mean, let's just call it a moment of madness on Ryan Reynolds' behalf. It's got to be a steal.
I reckon they've obviously gone, bro, if you do this movie, I know it's not good, you do this movie, we'll make a Deadpool. And they went, okay, cool.
It might have been that. I think actually, logically, what it was is that there was the potential, because at the time they were building to a Justice League, and obviously, if I get my hand in the door of one of the characters,
Yeah.
I can then get myself into the Justice League. And the fact is that, but was Ryan Reynolds? I mean, technically, yeah, okay. Is Ryan Reynolds a good Hal Jordan? Yes, absolutely. But the CGI for that, whoever decided the budget value for CGI got it completely wrong, because it was terrible. It was awful.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But yeah. And this, to be fair, the storyline weren't even good either, really.
Yeah, like it was a very bizarre, like, yeah, I don't know, like it was, like I liked the idea of it and I felt like it had some legs. Like, to be fair, Sinestro, or whatever his name is, he was amazing in it. And I just felt like the whole, like, Green Lantern side of things was just like the storyline seemed like it was kind of average for everybody, and then except for him, and he played it. It was Mark Strong. Mark Strong played it amazingly.
But yeah. Anyway, right. We'll get to the main topic of conversation for this movie, which is I watched Uncharted finally. Because I say finally, it's just the fact is that we just decided to watch a movie, and right, I'll tell you the reason why I know this is a bad movie from the start. Right, okay. Because one thing I noticed when I watch a movie, right,
is how big things is.
No. We're not talking about Dragon Ball or anything like this. We're talking about the fact is that when I watch a movie, if I'm really getting into it, I don't want to pause.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't want to pause. Don't want to have a conversation. You know, you zone in, don't you? Like,
yeah,
I'm here. Great. We took 3 pauses in this movie to have a conversation, to go have TP breaks, and you know, that's how bad this movie was.
Really?
In my opinion. And do you know what the problem I have with? I think the reason why, I mean, Elle, in her defense, was said that actually this was a good movie.
Yes, okay? I agree with Elle.
I think the problem for me is I'm aware. I played like some of the early Uncharted games.
Yes.
So I'm roughly aware. I wouldn't say I'm an expert at the game. I wouldn't say, you know, because obviously I was, you know, I only played, I think it was Uncharted. What was it called? Uncharted. It was like, what was it? I think it was like, Drake's Fortune. Think I might have played them on these. I'm talking really early days of Uncharted, right? And even then, the games didn't have. Well, I mean, it had a storyline, but it wasn't like it wasn't like playing a game nowadays where, oh no, you've got to have an entire lore behind it.
Yeah.
But, you know, back then it was like, oh, jump in, you're having some fun, you know, you get to do some missions, you get to do some sneaky stuff. It's great. You know, there's a little bit of a storyline, but you're not paying attention to that because it's just, I want to do the next mission, sort of thing.
Yes.
So, I think that's my big issue is that they had put all this big, huge.
But the problem is too, though, is I think also had they made this movie back then, they could have just had like this cool action scene, and I agree. But the problem is now Uncharted has become a much bigger side of things. It's not just this sort of like thing, and I think that's why they had to put it in. And I actually quite liked it. I loved the fact that they obviously went through the double crossing and this, because I know in some of the Uncharted ones, the people that were your friends in one thing weren't your friends in another, or they betrayed you in other ones. So I kind of like that they had that element, but they always kept Nate as that very wholesome kind of character. And the other thing that I also liked was when they eventually fell out of the plane, and they got onto the beach and they walked,
which is a very classic Uncharted, yes.
And the best thing was you know the guy that talks to him. That's Nolan North, the guy that does the voice of Uncharted, and he's just like, that happened to me once, and I'm like, oh, that's so funny because
literally when he said it in the thing, I was like, that's the voice actor. I
know
that voice. And no, how do you know? I said, that's the voice actor.
100%.
That voice immediately. I think this is the other issue is, I think, don't get me wrong, Is Mark Wahlberg's too old for the role? Sort of.
Not of Sully, of Nathan Drake, 100%. Of Sully, I don't believe so.
But the problem I also have is Tom Holland is too young. Obviously, if this was meant to be the precursor for becoming the Nathan Drake that we know from the video games, fine. But there's no context of where this fits in terms of a video game time frame.
Well, this is where he first meets Sully, which I think is one of the Uncharted games is like a prequel where they do have an earlier thing, or if it's a DLC or something. And at that point, but in the game, Sully and him are always friends. So that's why I think they set this up to be a little bit younger, allow Tom Holland to grow with it. There is rumours that there is still going to be a second one. So the popularity of it is that they still, it was good enough that it managed. I think it made 400 and something K.
Audience score is 90% on Rotten.
Jordan's score is about 12%.
The Rotten Tomato score is 40. Sort of thing. So from the critics, so it's not.
I must say though, there are movies that I watch that I'm like, how can the critics and the audience be so far different?
We've had this discussion before about Rotten Tomatoes. Is the fact is the critics, some of them are mental, some of them are mental. So it's like how have you gotten this so wrong?
Yeah,
it's like how have you scored it so low? It's like, to be fair, one movie that is out on Netflix, I've got it on my list to watch, is that Godzilla -1. And I've heard nothing but amazing things about that.
Yeah, I looked at that, and I was wondering if that was an old one or if I'd missed something, because I wasn't...
It's kind of like a remake of the original sort of thing. But the critics love it as well. So, like, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's 98% on the critics, and it's 98% on the audience. Whenever Rotten Tomatoes, whenever there's a movie where the critics are saying it's great and the audience says it's great, you just know you've got a great movie.
I was going to say that scares me though, mate, because the critics are horrible.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. I'm actually genuinely looking forward to it. I might try and watch it if I get a chance tonight. I might watch it, sort of thing. But I'm looking forward to it. But yes, so Godzilla -1 is definitely on the thing. But anyway, back to Uncharted. So where I feel, I mean, it was a bit too gaggy as well. Was my only other problem with this movie. It kind of felt a bit tropey. Oh, I'm going to backstab you. Oh no, we're going to double cross. Oh no, we're triple crossing because I work for the evil dude. Oh, can we just say, right? I can't watch. I genuinely can't see Antonio Banderas on screen
as a bad guy.
Hear his famous line because he's not a bad guy.
He's not. But I think I like that they didn't make him the big bad, and I like that they didn't do it. They set him up as this one. They set him up as this character that was kind of rich. He was a proud, like, Spaniard that wants to get his family name back. He's been double-crossed, and he wasn't evil, but he did seem to be a bit too cocksure and a bit too, like, this is my livelihood. We are going to take back our family name and all this crap. But he didn't have the strength to be the big bad, and that is why I love that kind of bit where they went, the girl that everybody's scared of becoming the big bad was such a clever move, because he didn't have the strength to carry the whole movie as a bad, and that change up really did set the pace of the movie and change the whole element of it.
That was good. I genuinely didn't see that coming, because he hired the other thief.
Yeah.
And all that. I was like, there's going to be a dynamic between these two. They're going to be duking it out and all that jazz. But I didn't see that. She was going to murder him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a bit new.
It's like, hey, it's like, hang on, wait a second. Nope, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Damn it.
Yeah, that was a bit out of left field, but But Antonio Banderas in this. Also, the fact is, me and Elle started cracking up because, of course, he's speaking, and the problem is that he's such a beloved character, not just for Zorro, but for Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
So whenever he kept speaking, I just envisioned Puss in Boots saying the same thing.
Well, you know that movie that came out that I said had the voice of the Big Burger, the boy that killed the world or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember the one with the Skarsgård and stuff?
Yeah, that was it.
I started watching that, and I watched probably the first 10 minutes or something. Yeah. And I must say, like, I ended up falling asleep because I watched it, like, the day after I officially knew I had COVID, and I was struggling real bad. But I'm just like, you hear this voice and you see it, and because it's such a beloved voice, like, he's done Archer, he's done Bob's Burgers, he's probably done a few things, but it's just his voice.
Yeah.
It is just so off-putting and so throwing that it just adds this comical thing. Like, he's like, that was the day I didn't speak after watching, like, somebody get killed, like, watching my mum get murdered, or whatever it was. I can't remember why. But I'm just like, this kind of seems stupid, because now all I'm waiting for him to do is, like, cook a burger or say something to one of the characters from Archer, and it was just really awkward, and I felt like it just took so much away from it. And I think that's the problem, is when you have somebody like Antonio Banderas that you know so well, it is a bit like...
I think the problem is as well, I mean, don't get me wrong, Antonio Banderas is a great actor, right? Okay.
Yes.
Great range on him, has a fabulous range on him, but he is Puss in Boots. And don't get me wrong, he couldn't be any other. Literally, like, to his the Puss in Boots characters work so well, especially with the second movie that he just did, you know, where he fights that. Oh, that's one of my favorite movies. I love it.
Yes,
it's such a guilty pleasure to watch. I just love the fact. I love the entire storyline from start to finish. It's just beautiful. But it's just watching this movie and seeing Antonio Banderas and him trying to be the bad guy. I'm like, oh, Puss has got bad.
Yeah. But I think that's why they changed it up a bit, and I think that's even why they kind of went, well, we need to try to do something, because it's just not working. But I didn't like it. Like, it made me feel like having those old action adventures like the Goonies, like this, but just giving it a little bit more mature, modern spin on things without making it overtly corny. Well, that's how I felt about it. Because I remember when I was sitting there on my deathbed, as I'm going to call it now, which is just such a lie, I wasn't on. But to be fair, I felt like shit. But I was like, I want to watch something. And that was one of the things that I felt like watching. I was like, man, I haven't watched that in ages.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind watching that, because I just remember it being this fun, light, great little movie, a few twists and turns, a little bit of intellect in there without being too full on. And I felt like it was a nice balance of action with the actual just light of it. And I was like, I really wanted to watch that.
One thing I think what they should have done, and don't get me wrong, Dan, this probably would have changed the movie completely, is I would have actually, like, because obviously we find out that Sam, Nate's brother, died, blah, 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 so they kind of betrayed him and all this jazz, blah, 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 you know, there was that trope. I actually kind of, when we found out that Nate's brother's dead, I was like, no, he's not, obviously not, because we never see the body, so therefore I expected him to become, like, out of left field, and he works for the bad guys, and he's under a different alias, or he's got an amnesia, or, you know, it was kind of, you know, the thousands of tropes that my brain went through, and it's like, oh yeah, he's going to come back, and then there's going to be this, but you're my brother, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah,
you know,
and then what happens is the big bad is like shining lightning out of him, and then Sam all of a sudden realizes and picks him up and throws him down the thing while his lightning's going, and then he takes off the black mask. Oh no, that's a different trope. Sorry.
That is a different trope.
That's a different trope.
But you know what I kind of mean. It was kind of like.
But did you see there is a scene at the end?
There's a scene at the end. Was there?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that.
Okay, so there was a scene at the end that actually shows Sam. So he looks like he's in, I'm guessing, some kind of jail or a prisoner in something, and he's writing another postcard to Tom Holland.
Okay.
And that actually happened towards the end. I don't know if I deleted the movie, but definitely worth downloading it and just having a look, or even just putting it onto YouTube.
I've got it on. It's on Netflix.
So there actually is an end scene where you actually do see him alive, and it looks like he's trapped somewhere, but it doesn't show him where. Okay. And he actually writes a letter or another postcard to Nate and signs it Sam. But I must say, I liked it. Like, it gave me that same kind of feeling with using a little bit of intellect and a little bit of brain power and a fun little adventure that didn't take itself too serious, like National Treasure or something like that. And I felt
Yeah,
and those films, and I think the problem is with so many modern day films now, we're down that point where we're trying to make it go big and things have to blow up. We have to have nuclear explosions. The world has to ignite. And even watching some action films now, when you actually see people get shot, rather than just see them take a few in the chest and go down, there has to be blood splatter. They have to explode. They have to do all this stupid shit. And I'm why? Why do we need to go that gruesome? At the end of the day, we see him take 2 bullets. Do we really need to see the entire wall painted with blood? And I'm just and I think that sometimes, I think I guess with a lot of movies nowadays is they do feel like we're just trying to be too gruesome or push that envelope way too much. Where something like this...
Movies these days, everyone is trying for a trilogy, which is fine. And
that's fine.
Respect, I get it, but the fact is, there's nothing better than having a movie that you don't aim for a sequel, but suddenly you can leave the possibility out there for a sequel. But the fact, it doesn't. But you don't have to have all the loose ends tied up in a movie.
No,
great, fabulous. But the fact it's they do aim for that. So to be fair, one of my favorite characters out of this entire movie was the Scottish henchman.
Yes, he was fucking hilarious. I'm so glad. I'm so disappointed he died.
Steve Waddington, his name, Stephen Waddington.
I must say, he was putting that on though a lot. That Scottish accent was super thick.
That was thick Glaswegian, thick.
Yeah, that was proper thick.
But the best bit is, I understood every word.
So did I, unfortunately. That was the worst thing.
Literally, every word was spoken. I guarantee you, though, that if I saw this in the cinema, people would be like, what?
I also love that, obviously, Tom Holland's being English, probably understood every single word that he said as well. But the problem is, he's I've got no idea what you're saying. He's yeah. But I think that's the thing, I feel at the end of the day, go for a trilogy, that's fine. Have a plan. But don't bastardize your first, second, or third movie to do that. It's when some of these TV series leave this massive cliffhanger at the end, and then they never get picked up for another series, and you're why wouldn't you just finish it, close it out, have a bit of a happy ending? So if you don't get picked up for next season, there's actually a reason to do it.
No, but I don't see anything wrong with a movie closing out and it's maybe clipped 70% of the branches. Fine.
Yeah.
Great. It's always good to have a little thing, and maybe they can clear up some of the other branches in the second movie or even the third, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's actually good when you get to a trilogy, and they throw in a callback all the way to the first. Oh my god, never thought of that. I totally forgot about that. That's what I kind of like.
And sometimes I think that's the problem is where every movie seems to be trying to be a trilogy, trying to be a universe, that we do tend to just be it wasn't that great a movie, and you're probably never going to see the second or third one. And there's so many plot holes, which makes the first one now even worse. But yeah, I actually really liked this because it felt like an adventure film that was adventure, that focused on the adventure, focused on the intellect, focused on some of the smart things, some of the history of it, without being this gory thing that we need it to be. And at the end of the day, true, it could be a series that if, for you that hasn't seen the end scene, if they didn't make it a second Uncharted, you'd be oh man, that's cool. I wonder if this is it. Or the fact that he's dead, you're that's okay with it. But when you watch the end scene, those little end scenes is what opens it up for the next one. And we had that in so many movies where all of a sudden you'd see somebody blow up, and then at the end you'd see him get out of the water, or he'd be okay. And there was that little cutscene at the end that left it open for a possible sequel, rather than
just a possible sequel. Yeah, that's all you ever want, really. But yeah, I think the problem is that probably from 2009 is when Iron Man came out.
Yeah, I was going to say from pretty much then. Once the Marvel Universe became the Marvel Universe, I think what happened is a lot of people went, "Oh, we want this." So obviously we had Tom Cruise's Mummy come out, where that was meant to be a monster universe. You had
where do we begin with that movie?
They obviously had what's his name, Russell Crowe as, I think it was Jekyll and Hyde or Dr. Frankenstein or something like that. So he was going to play one of the monster ones. So they actually got some big names to try to do it. But
okay,
yeah, in the actual movie it had Russell Crowe in it, and I think he was meant to either Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, or he was Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein, but it's just hard because I'm at the end of the day,
That's what it's called.
What was it called?
It's called the Dark Universe.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the idea behind it was
Monster versus Godzilla. So I was just like, that's.
Oh, but yeah, they were going to call it like it was meant to be like the big bad monster verse, where it was like that. It had Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, that's cool, but I'm just like,
Okay. Oh, so far they've got the Mummy from 2017, the Invisible Man from 2020, Renfield.
Well, is Renfield one of them?
Renfield's apparently one of them. I've never even heard of it.
Renfield has
the Dementor.
Renfield has Nicolas Cage as as Dracula, and has that Holt guy, the guy that played Beast, as like his little manservant.
Okay.
And then he kind of decides to go, but it is like a comedy. Like it is fucking horrible. Not horrible, but it's not good. It's kind of like Nicolas Cage is like this overly camp.
I know this now. I've just seen the photo. I've seen it. He looks awful.
It's like he's like this overly camp out there thingo. He's not really in it that much, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like the Mummy was super hella dark, and then you've got Renfield that is kind of like this overtly camp, kind of like ridiculous Dracula film.
Then you got after Renfield, The Last Voyage of the Dementor, which came out last year, apparently.
Sorry, I was right. Russell Crowe played Dr. Henry Jekyll.
Okay. And then this year, you've got Lisa Frankenstein. And then Abigail, which is about to come out. And then The Wolfman, which is in pre-production. And then number 8 is untitled as of right now. And then you've got number 9, which is the unreleased but it's in development, The Invisible Woman.
Oh wow! So they are actually.
And then it ends with Van Helsing as number 10.
That's kind of cool.
But in terms of
I've just found this. I've just found that page you were looking at. Like.
Yeah. So they've got Bride of Frankenstein, Dark Army, The Monster Mash, Frankenstein, Little Monsters, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Great! I love that movie.
Yes.
I love that. Oh, that was a great movie back in the day. So if they can just remake it, make it cool. And actually, no, if they can improve the costume, the monster, that would be.
No, I think the costume was perfect.
No, dear Lord, no. That nowadays just will not fly. It will not fly.
It is funny.
And then you got Dracula, The Phantom of the Opera. I'll tell you. Right, okay, I might get hit for this. I've never ever seen The Phantom of the Opera.
You're a fuckwit.
I've never seen the stage.
You're an uncouth friggin' barbarian. You are.
Oh, believe you me, I listen. I told a good friend once because she was a Phantom of the Opera nut. She loved the stage show. She loved the movie and everything else. And I was like, oh, I've never seen it. And literally, the way she looked at me, I was like, I feel like you know when you're in the presence of a dangerous predator.
Yes.
and you get the hackles over the back of your neck, and it's like fight or flight. Yep, I'm running.
I was lucky enough to see it with Andrew Lloyd Webber in it, who made it famous, and it is a brilliant stage show. How it's going to translate to the movies, I honestly have no friggin' idea.
Okay. So after that, there's 3 movies after that, which is The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I don't know how they're going to...
For a start off, it's a Disney movie, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
How that's going to work. Then they got The Invisible Man 2, it says, and then the final one in development, which I'll tell you now, if they can improve the first one, thank God, which is The Scorpion King, because that movie was awful. That was truly bad.
Have you seen that they've actually got 4 of those now?
Oh yeah, I know. That's the worst bit. It's like literally, the first one came out, and I was like,
the guy that they got to do. I think it was the third one was good. He's the dark-haired dude from Mutant X. If you've seen that old TV series, but then it was funny because the Scorpion King was played by a different character in each of them. I think there might actually be 5. So it says here that an untitled Scorpion King film is coming for the Dark Kingdom, and it's got producer, weirdly, Dwayne Johnson. So it's got him as a producer. So I'm not sure if that means that he's coming back as as possibly the Scorpion King, but
Please, dear Lord. If they do, can they improve the CGI?
oh man, that CGI was fantastic.
Oh no, I remember that in the it was the Mummy 2, wasn't it?
No, I think was it the no, I think it was the
Well, when we first see the Scorpion
yeah,
King,
that was the that was whatchamacallit, that was actually the Mummy, where you see him in and he comes up as a scorpion and he's like the bottom half, he's like this centaur with a scorpion body, and he just looks like I've learnt Blender a week ago and trying to figure out how to do it. It was like
Blender. Wow, that's a throwback. Jesus.
No, because I've been teaching.
I still use Blender.
Yeah, a lot of people do because it's free.
Oh yeah, no, God forbid. I think when I first started doing YouTube, I used Blender to do all my export of the videos because it was the.
Oh no! Blender's like a CGI.
It was awful, mainly because it would take about 5,000 years to export one video.
Oh no! Blender now is a free to use software that they use a lot with STLs and using Thingo. But yes.
I'll tell you what, I've actually just looked up this last voyage of the Dementor, right? Okay, because I have never heard of it, and apparently it came out last year, which is, I'm not saying that you hear every movie that comes out, but still, for something that's part of the a MonsterVerse, it's like, oh, okay. Literally, it's got 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, critics 49%, audience is 75%. So, solid.
And it's got a 6.1 on IMDb by the looks of things.
The critics said the last voyage is a fresh angle on Dracula's oft-told tale, although lackluster execution often undercuts the story's claustrophobic tension. But then you've got the audience here is a solidly scary Dracula movie. That's top comment. You'd be rewarded patient viewers with some intense scenes and plenty of eerie atmosphere. But apparently it's based off a single chapter from Bram Stoker's classic novel Dracula. The entire movie's based off one chapter.
To be fair though, we've based movies on a lot less. Like we based the entire movie on Battleship, the board game. We had a giant white monkey of Rampage from a 1970 film, which I didn't actually hate Rampage.
Listen, right, Rampage was good, apart from who they cast in the main role. That's where it went wrong. That's where the movie went wrong.
But that's the thing that I think is a lot of the things, and that's the hardest thing about The Rock. The Rock is an actor, let him be The Rock. When you cast him in things like, for example, Black Adam, you've got this character that you want to take somewhere, but then you've cast The Rock in it. And the problem is he's bigger than the character itself. And I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of the Rock movies, like Jumanji. He can kind of be a bit of himself, it's fine. A lot of these films are fine, but when you put him into a title role that he knows, like you say, Chris Evans, we'd heard of Chris Evans before, it wasn't a big thing, but he became Captain America. Robert Downey Jr. became Iron Man. The problem is The Rock became Black Adam, or played Black Adam, didn't become him.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest problem with The Rock, is his star power is way too big.
Yeah, I think my opinion of also the fact that he gets offered every role and takes it. That's the worst bit. Is the fact is that and what is it? The standard character he gets offered is a big muscle bound guy. To
be fair though, what else are you? It sounds bad though, but what the hell else are you going to cast him in?
Oh yeah, no, but there's no range on him. There's no range. I mean, he's a little bit funny, and he is. The fact that when he makes offhand comment, like what was it in the whichever Fast and Furious movie it is, it's literally like his departing scene where what is his name? Tyrese says, "Oh, hey, better look up your baby's
yeah
thing. And
better look up your baby oil."
And he's like, you better look up that big ass forehead.
That was funny,
course,
but that wasn't part of it.
Chris breaks, but of course that scene makes him because it was such an offhand comment that broke the actors. It was so good, and so he can be funny, but it's just like I hate that The Rock gets offered everything.
But the problem is too, though, is he does have star power. His social media is, I think he's something like the 4th or 5th. No, I think he's definitely in the top 10. He might be 6th biggest IG account. He's 5th, I think, on TikTok. Like, he's very, very easy. Like, you cast him in something, you don't need to worry about marketing because his fan base is enough marketing that he will make that movie a success.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is we need to stop casting him in roles where he's playing somebody. You need him to be The Rock, and you need him to do what he does, but not make it like something else. Like I just like, and I think that was the biggest problem with Black Adam is it was The Rock. Like, though he tried to play Black Adam, the problem is your range is that you're The Rock. Your character is bigger than anything you're going to play.
I think, in my opinion, what should have happened in the Black Adam movie is, especially towards the end bit of the movie where he's trying to be the good guy, is where's Shazam? Because it was hinted, obviously, in the Shazam movie, the final end credits saying, "Oh, what's this? I look forward to meeting our brother or our sister," and all that. And it's obviously the throne for Black Adam. Great.
Yes.
The fact is that we get the outro scene. The outro scene involves Superman, but we couldn't have gotten Shazam in there at some point. There wasn't even Shazam mentioned at anything. And it's like, Shazam's not exactly a quiet character. Come on.
Yeah, but I guess the idea is maybe it was before all that, and that was the idea.
Yeah, maybe, but even then, it's like, well, we've got. The fact is that Superman turns up and he knows how to deal with it. The fact is that you're kind of aware that he knows obviously knows Shazam, blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So it could work. Yeah. So that's the only thing.
But I guess that's the idea, is that it was slightly before all that happened.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably give it timeline sort of jiggling aspect sort of thing, but yeah, it's kind of. I think they need to maybe spell that out a little bit better. Just better. That would work. But yeah. But anyway, so in terms of Uncharted, I personally, I'm giving it a 7.
Okay, that's better than I thought you were getting it. By the sound of things, I'm like, this is getting a 5 from him.
No. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. If I was to watch it just for an action perspective, it's okay. Is it the best? No, but it's all right. It's a good stick it on kind of movie.
Yes.
Sort of thing. But do I have any urge to go watch it again? No. I'll tell you that right now. I have no urge to watch it again. But
I actually really liked it. I thought it was fun. It was this. So obviously, as of May 2024, it says Uncharted is yet to be confirmed, but they are hopeful that as long as it fits within his timeline, Tom Holland will come back, which is good. Yeah. But it is supposedly coming back.
Okay.
So it seems like the only update, it says here, it seems like Wahlberg is the only one providing updates at this point. Back in December 2020 things, he had heard a lot of different ideas as the script was underway. He joked the sequel would consist of having a mustache the whole entire time, following the character's last appearance in the end credit scene, which obviously is part of the end credit scenes, but there is no potential release date as yet, but they have a feeling that if the script can get tied down, it could be as early as the end of 2025.
Okay. All right. Could be interesting. So we might be able to see something down the line, which could be interesting.
Yeah. And it says here the credit scene teased the return of Nate's brother Sam, who Nate believes is dead. This is also a key plot in the game Uncharted 4. While Sam may have a big plan in the sequel, it's not yet clear who might play him. So there is the things there, and I generally would like to see a sequel to this, just because I feel like it deserves it. I would love to see how they handle that rekindling of the brothers, how they move that demographic of untrusting to, okay, maybe we should start trusting. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep it here, but yeah, I think it would be nice to see.
I think it will be interesting to see, but I would very much prefer a big development. And to be fair, I don't think you need Mark Wahlberg on screen. Mark Wahlberg didn't do much in this.
I liked him as a side character, and I think that's the thing that he was a side character. There were elements about him that obviously that I really enjoyed. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, he had that character, and I'm hoping now what they do is they lean more on Tom. They lean more on some of those other characters that they had, and hopefully that we also see him lean on Nate a little bit and have that brotherly thing come through. Whether that be that Nate and his brother have to save Sully, so you don't see him much in it, or something like that. I don't know, but I would like to see Tom Holland rise up, because in this film it did feel a bit like he was kind of a little bit. I was going to say though he was kind of the main character and the name of the character, he didn't feel like he was a strong lead. And I felt like Mark Wahlberg kind of took a lot more of that. So that's why I'm hoping that we see that kind of progress and we see Mark Wahlberg gather in strength.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's I think it will be interesting to see down the line what's if what they come out with. But yeah, anyway, right. What we'll do, we'll end it there. Nice short episode for you, Des.
Thanks, buddy.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's recently subscribed, liked, and shared, and everything else. Well done. Please keep it going. It allows us, obviously, to spread the podcast further and wider and everything else. We are obviously available on all good podcasts, supply services, and forums, and everything else, and blah, 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 blah. You can also see our beautiful faces on YouTube and on Spotify at Dorks Down Under. Oh, pardon me. But yeah, apart from that, we are very much looking forward to getting back to next week episode. Now that I'm back from the South Park and I can actually get time to watch the movies. Oh, obviously, I'm very much looking forward to catching up on some of the new releases and everything else. And I've recently, on Helldivers, we've just made a planet into a black hole. Look forward to that. That's been good.
Wait, you've just turned a planet into a black hole?
Yes. We had to destroy a super colony of Terminids, so we decided to, inject dark matter into the planet.
What's the worst that could happen?
And what's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine. It's going to be great.
Far out.
Much love. Peace out, people. Relax. And we'll see you next week.
Layers. I must say, I didn't think you were going to give it a 7.